So I minimize this. Just move your mug over here so I can look right at you. All right, bro. Now you may not, a couple of warnings here. Hasn't happened lately, but hold on, let me get this. Check your level. Tom. Looks like we're both on. Okay, you may hear music, you may not. I mean, some do, not sure why, but and then my second segment, a couple of shows ago when we were in Arizona, I had an issue where the segment didn't start right. And I think it might have been on me because it's been good. Get rid of this stuff over here. It's been good lately. So it's just like, okay, how's your time?
My time, I think it's good. I don't see any latency or lag.
No. I'm talking about your scheduled time for today, because if we have to restart, it might go longer than we.
Oh, no, you're good. Today's one of my days off. This is company time, essentially.
All right. So where did you go to school?
As far as college, Eastern Michigan University.
Michigan. Are you a Michigan guy?
No, not at all.
That's right. I think you told me that. Okay. Eastern Michigan.
Yeah. It's growing on me, but not nearly at the rate others would like it to.
Okay. Just seen the freaking snow we had here Saturday, because I'm in Wisconsin right now. It's like,
oh yeah,
got 21 inches of snow in 6 hours.
Good Lord.
Dude,
so we got off light.
Dude, it was like I got up 30 in the morning, looked outside because it kept telling us we got this winter storm watch, all this stuff. We had just got in on Friday. And then I looked outside, there's nothing. I mean, it's just there's a little bit of snow on the ground from when we got here. Came back upstairs, hour and a half later, it was a complete freaking whiteout. I mean, it was insane. So yeah, it was nuts.
Am I looking at you or am I looking at the camera? I can't tell.
You look like you're looking at your camera.
Okay, cool. Excellent. Should I be looking at you? Is that better?
No, you're good.
Okay.
You are good. All right, let's get going. So much stuff going on. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. All right. Do this bad boy. Here we go. Last week, Dr. Deborah Heiser was back, everybody. Superpowers of highly sensitive people. And we did the first messages to our younger self with her, our second that we've ever done in post-production for the radio program. So I want you to be aware of that and just bring it, baby. Just bring it, because we're going to be doing some good things with the messages to our younger self, fifth segment type stuff. So Dr. Deborah Heiser for her 39th visit. So awesome. She's so great. Just love her. I mean, just love her. All right. Got a newbie coming in today. Young man that I met, Sandy and I met, actually struck up a conversation. Guy's got it going on. You know me, I'm always looking for storytellers. I'm looking for people that are out there wanting to change the world and do good things. And David C. Thomas, calling this one Believing in Yourself. Hope you guys like that one. I like that one. I guess that's all that matters, right? David C. Thomas went to Eastern Michigan University. We don't need to do a long bio because he's a young guy. And you know what we do with reaching out to the millennials, the Gen Zers, the Generation Us people, that's what we're all about. We're going to talk about what it's like to be 30, what it's like to be a young 30-year-old, 30-some-year-old, and what's going on in life, and how did David change his life? Because this guy, he's gone through some trials and tribulations. He's recovered. He's done good things. He's going to do good things, and he's got a completely bright future. I want to welcome to our radio program my friend, David C. Thomas. David, welcome to the show, man.
Hello, Matt. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you,
My
everyone, for inviting me. Thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you here. I know when we talked and when we met you at your employer, and we don't have to talk about the employer thing, but when we met you, you had you had such a great attitude, and you had such a I saw something in you, and it's what I do
Mhm.
with my job, is to really get out there and just try to find people and find story. And I knew it when I met you and talked to you that there was something there that needed to be shared out. And so let's do it. Let's talk about you. But
Excellent.
because you're a first time guest, I'll give you the
Mhm.
lowdown. The first segment is this is your life kind of thing. Just kind of tell everybody about you. Get warmed up. Go ahead and talk,
Okay.
and then we'll move forward with believing in yourself and some different topics, and we'll riff and have fun and
Excellent.
coach coach some people up. Go ahead, David. Please tell everybody about your story.
All right. Well, I tell you, it's been a heck of a story and a heck of a journey. And I guess the best part to start is in the beginning. I definitely have been all over the eastern half of the United States, traveling all the time. Since I was a baby, I was born in Illinois, stayed there 40 days, 40 nights, and then wound up going to Florida. And that's kind of like my area. I love Florida so very much. We went to Orlando, stayed there for 13 years or so, kept moving, went to Georgia, stayed there for a few years, kept moving, North Carolina, a bit of South Carolina, I believe, as well, and then kept moving, wound up in Michigan. But the crazy thing is, I always wondered, I was like, well, why are we moving? Because dad kind of always talked about us moving, and it was kind of, under the spirit of God and under the idea that he was in the military. So he's like, I'm used to moving so much. And then come to find out, right around the time we were in Michigan, which is we'll call it the final stop, um, when the FBI came in and the sheriffs and everyone came in and kind of started yelling and shouting, I was like, okay, we're in a different type of situation than we were previously let on. So yeah, I've definitely had interesting and invigorating life that's been led with, I guess, how could I say, truths and half truths. We'll say that essentially.
Truths and half truths. That's really interesting. Now, you can't leave our listening audience hanging with the FBI broke into our house, and you got to kind of give us a little bit more of that stuff. What
Right,
was,
right.
and I mean, that had to be traumatic. How old were you when that happened?
I was actually 18, just freshly turned 18.
You were very young.
Very young, yeah, very young.
Not that you're
And
not that you're old now, my man, but I mean,
I don't know, looking at my hair, you'd think otherwise. Got some grays in there.
just kind of give everybody the snapshot. I mean, was it, it was obviously it's not a good thing. I mean, so
Not
you
at
don't have
all, no.
all the
It was
details.
definitely well, it's okay because I've learned that if you don't go through that trial, that fire, that tribulation, you don't become who you are meant to become. You don't know what you're actually made of. You don't have that grit. And at the time, it was very jarring, sleeping, it's like 7 a.m. My dog is there, Rex, excuse me. And God, he was a Australian German Shepherd. Loved the little guy. And I heard boom, 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 three thuds, and then a call. And then I'm in the room, I get up, and then another thud, and then the door is in. Next thing you know, the whole place is flooded with agents. And the crazy thing is, I guess I didn't really set this one up well, but the crazy thing is my dad wasn't at that residence. He wasn't at that house. We had another residence where he and the other 9 children were they were in Ohio. So they were in a residence in Ohio, and I was in the residence in Detroit with the other 6 or so ladies. And the two places got hit simultaneously. And next thing you know, I was talking to I believe it was either the chief of police or some guy from the Detroit office. It was really quite jarring. It was quite interesting.
So this involves your dad. We don't have to go into the details of all of that, but it obviously involved the adults in your life, and there was something
Mhm.
going on that could be a very traumatic. And then I mean, man,
Honestly, well, according to so that's, I guess, the crazy thing I wanted to bring to your listeners' awareness is like you could literally be next to someone. Like I was a straight A, okay, well, AB student. I tried to hit straight A's, but science kicks your butt every now and then, And and geometry and math kind of messed me up. But I was an AB student, and everyone smiled. Everyone looked at me, and they always said that I was off. I was a little different. I was weird. That's what I got. That's the thing that was associated with me, the term, which was weird. And I guess I want your viewers to know, like, it's crazy. You could be literally next to someone and they could be in what was referred to me at the time when the FBI came in, they referred to it as a cult, that my dad was running a cult and that we were all in it, and that they were in the process of currently arresting my father in Ohio and separating my siblings. And the idea of that being told to me, I guess at the time, this is the first time I guess I'm really ever saying it out loud. It's weird, but I guess it's like a wrecking ball hitting your soul, because the wind gets knocked out of you. It's almost as if they called it the kingdom. He called it the kingdom, which is what he lived in. And it was like living in a country within a country. And yeah, I go out and it's like I put on a mask to go out and I guess interact with the world. But then when you came home, that was the world. That was the real world. Yeah, we had a president and everything out here, but he was the king in there. And
You're
that
talking about
was,
your dad.
yeah,
What
my
your dad was in that role. I get you. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Well, let me reset everything here, because we're going to come up here. And that was a good illustration of the story. Basically, our guest today, David C. Thomas, believing in yourself. You guys see where we're going with this. Because of his upbringing, because of the things he was exposed to that it was really out of his control, what we have to talk about here is, how do you build resiliency? How do you begin to believe in yourself when your life is hit by a wrecking ball, as David just said? How do you, if you travel all over and you're moving all over and you're doing these things, how do you become the sharp-dressed man that Sandy and I met at his employer and just immediately had a connection with this young man? And us, we're all about the connection with people. We're all about helping others get better through the stories. It's all about the stories. And David C. Thomas, our guest today, Believing in Yourself is the title of this episode. This young man's got a story. He's got a plan. He's got a dream. He's got lots of dreams, and he's very articulate. I'm very, very glad that he is joining us today for our episode. Again, David C. Thomas, our guest, Believing in Yourself, Tom Mann Show.
Thank you again, Tom. Thank you so much. And thank you to your listeners once again. I very much appreciate it.
But we're recording on the video, so we're that portion. I have to cut this off when I hear the music. No, that's fine. No, that's cool. That's fine. It's because I need to be a better director of.
No. I'm sorry.
People, you know what, David? The craziest thing is they get to see this behind the scenes stuff of how we do this, and so no, that's fine. That and again, I'm sorry I didn't. Let me save that. I'm always really focused on the radio side of things and where.
Oh, no. I get you. You're wearing many hats. I get you.
But and I forget, because I'm looking at my camera here and it's like, hey, we're just doing the best we can.
I get you. I feel you.
I want to move this mic. I think I got to do this. I'm not liking my audio that I saw. Mitch is probably gonna. Sorry, Mitch. I know if you see this video, you saw me just move my microphone. Can you see my microphone, David? This thing? Okay, cool.
No.
Fine. It's all good. Here we go. Craig. Here. Craig. Craig Styles is our sponsor for this episode. For this.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. My stuff works. Second segment of the Tom Mann Show is sponsored by my buddy, my pal, Craig Styles. Craig. Ameriprise Financial, your Ameriprise financial advisor and ours, full disclosure, can help you plan for the life you want today and well into the future with the right financial advisor. Life can be brilliant. Love it. Please call Craig. Got two numbers coming at you guys. 1-800-528-1355
The other number, his local number, 517-483-4893. His email is craig.stiles@ampf.com. You can always find our sponsors and our guests at the bottom of our homepage, tomhantshow.com. There are a couple of banners down there for Craig, and Brock. Please go there and check it out. Craig's offices are located at 2400 Lake Lansing Road, Suite B is in Beism or Brilliant, Lansing, Michigan 48912. Really nice offices there in mid Michigan. But if you're listening to us and you are, I don't know, you're in outer space, or you are, in somewhere in Australia, wherever, because of the beauty of the internet, we're everywhere. If you need an Ameriprise financial advisor, give Craig a call and he can hook you up with someone who is in your area so you can meet with him. But use Craig as a resource, because he is the guy who started Desideri Analytics, where we are making light of weighted decisions. That's his proprietary algorithm, and that's what puts him over the top. Here's some stations in and out of the network carried us, are no longer carrying us, whatever. Anyone who carried us on broadcast radio, I am grateful always. WGHN 92.1 FM in Grand Haven. First to carry us on broadcast radio. You guys are always first out of the chute. WGIM 1240 AM Lansing, the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network. WKLQ 1490 AM Muskegon, WYPV FM 94.5 in Mackinac City, all part of the Michigan Talk Network. WKAR AM 870 News Talk at Michigan State University, PBS affiliate, blasting us out on Sunday afternoons. It's so greatness. Want to thank the Michigan Talk Network, Steve and Ivy Gruber, for doing what they do, having the faith in us, and just putting us on broadcast radio on a syndicated version. And it's all good. And now that we're doing the video stuff, and it's like, we're getting there. All right. So that's all good. Anyway, I want to again thank Craig Stiles for what he does for us, because he's handling it. He's handling everything for us, and away we go. Handling things is a good segue into my guest today, the doctor, David C. Thomas. I like to think of him as a millennial, this guy's just got it going. He's going to be a huge success. I can see it. I can feel it. He's got great vibes, believing in yourself. And David was just telling us the beginning story. You know how we do the "this is your life" thing. And yeah, his upbringing, he kind of found himself in a very kind of cultish sort of religious situation with his parents and dad. And he's survived, and he is a survivor, and that's the whole thing. David, let's talk about this. Let's talk about, you said wrecking ball hit your soul, but you've survived. You've moved past that. And from what I saw, the young man that I met, Sandy met, I just saw complete confidence. I saw complete faith. And so, and again, you are very much into your faith. You are a very religious person. Talk about that. Talk about how your faith helped you get through those tough times as you were younger. And we'll just kind of touch on those things, because there's a lot of different areas I want to go to, but please share, because faith is huge.
One of the things that I would definitely like to stress to you and your listeners, most certainly, is that my dad took it. So faith is usually what you go to when you're seeking like salvation, when you're seeking, like, I guess, shelter, you're looking for help and aid. Unfortunately, he took it and used it and more as a weapon. Coupled with his degree that he had in psychology, he did tell us that he was molding all 9 of us, me and my other siblings, into something that would be used for his entire church. What I started noticing was that, he was he was getting these churches, and we would be there, and then nobody would show up. Absolutely no one. It would just be us. The people would show up, a couple here and there, a couple people, then they would quickly scamper away. And Dad always blamed it on us, saying that our faith wasn't strong enough, it wasn't good. But with what I told you in the first segment, which was, the FBI coming in and everything else like that, it kind of made me think, okay, God wasn't in that. And so the faith thing came to me when unfortunately, it might get a little dark, but I was going to go, kill myself. And I was like, driving and driving and driving, and my boyfriend, and he had called me and he was like, please don't, I need you, and everything else like that. And
How old
while
were
on the
you?
phone,
Excuse me,
yeah,
David.
this was, no, you're fine, you're fine. This
How old
was,
were you when you were hitting this period of your life, when you were going through this thoughts of suicidal thoughts and having this type of depression? Because this is very important to talk about.
oh,
And
absolutely,
I'm very grateful for you to share this so openly.
absolutely.
How old were you?
So I had suicidal thoughts in two segments. The first segment was while I was in the kingdom. And that was when I was 16, 17 years of age. A traumatizing event happened that wanted me to just take it away. That was stopped, thank God, and nullified. But then unfortunately it rose up again. And this was due to my sexuality and things that I could not understand or fathom. And this happened when I was 29, so only 2 years ago. And this was January of 2021. And
How are you feeling now?
how am I feeling now? Excellent, invigorated. I have some theme parks I want to put up in Michigan.
That's all part of the story that's coming, everybody. I knew this little piece because we had talked about these things. This is part of the story, but this is why I admire this young man so much, because, you know, he, again, is sharing his story. I'm going to reset this a little bit, David. David C. Thomas is with us, believing in yourself, talking about his suicidal thoughts and coming close a couple of times in his life for the escape to get away and the depression that goes in with that. David, we got a minute and a half to go before we go to break. Let the listeners know what you and I are going to talk about, hopefully, in amongst Tom's ramblings, about where you'd like to help people and why they want to stick around. Why do people want to listen to you? And give me a 30-second snapshot on that, would you please?
Because life isn't hard when you have the tools that are before you. And in part of that, it is faith. It is absolutely faith, but it's not the traditional faith that I would say is preached in the churches and preached crazily and shoved down people's throats because it was done to me. That's not love. That's not faith. Faith is literally
control. That is domination.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. So when we come back, everybody, we're gonna go down this road, because when you are in a psychotic situation, you have mental health issues, and everyone knows how much I appreciate and why we do so many episodes as it revolves around mental health aspects and stories and all of the good things that can come if we can get together and handle these things. That's where we're going with this. The domination. Life isn't hard. The tools, if you have your faith. David C. Thomas, believing in yourself. Guy's amazing. I'm telling you, these young people, I find these young people, and I cannot tell you how much I admire them. Tom Matcham. See how easy this is? Talking to the camera now. See how easy this is? It's just so much fun, man. I tell you, it's a riot. You're doing great. Doing really, really well. I knew you would. And, you know, we don't do a lot of prep with this. I don't want that from my guests. We're talking people and stories. So here we go. Third segment. The simplest way to connect with us is via our website, TomMatchShow.com, TomMatchShow.com. All right. Where we have a redesigned, simpler page. YouTube buttons are there. We're really pushing hard with the YouTube content. I really am working very, very diligently. Matter of fact, I cut up a video yesterday, and it's doing pretty well. And it's about the learning and how to do video, because I never did any of this stuff before. We want to share with you many more aspects of us and our guests, like our friend today, David Thomas, is with us, David C. Thomas. Facebook, Tom Matt Show, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Our mission is to build an engaged society and team, and that's what we're doing, and we're going to do it. And I'm telling you, we are on the way. We want to connect with all of you. So whichever social media is your favorite, please drop us a note. We'll respond to all messaging, and we want your input. We want to have this collaborative environment one of my 3 C's, the refinement zone, RFZ, the RFZ at the RFZ. People ask me, so what is that again? The word the, THE, RFZ. Just Google that and away you go, because the RFZ is all about community, collaboration, and cooperations. The 3 C's of sharing stories. The YouTube channels are there. The Refinement Zone Chronicles is working. The Tom Metz Show YouTube channel is working. Mitch Anderson's doing some beautiful stuff with our broadcasting and our audio. It's just all coming together. We want you all to be part of our family and our team, just like David C. Thomas is. Knew that when we met this guy. Now, David, when you first met Sandy and I, and we were at his employer, and which is going nameless, but did you think when I said, hey, I think we might be able to help you out a little bit, what did you think when, because I mean, it was kind of like this sort of how Tom rolls. Tom comes on kind of strong sometimes. Sorry about that. But what did you think, this growing older couple, you met them, and what was your initial thought? I'm curious.
I had two honest, and this is honest to God, two things went through my mind simultaneously, like pew pew. The first thing that went through my mind was, oh my God, another person, because I have a lot of people that come up to me and like, oh my God, but in various different ways. Yours was a little bit unique and tonally, so I was like, this is interesting. The second thing was to listen, and that was what I heard in my own spirit, in my soul, which was listen. And the reason is because and that's based on my I saw a therapist who told me, he was like, based on what you have gone through, you have so many defensive mechanisms up. And honestly, I will dismiss someone in the first breath if their voice doesn't sound right, the tone, because I've been manipulated so aggressively. And I'm still trying to, kind of like Spider-Man getting out of Venom, or taking Venom off, if you will, a bit of a nerd there. I'm trying to remove those stains from the past a bit. But I guess in where I am now, and kind of where I left off too in the last segment, I was kind of like driving through this giant blizzard I was kind of going towards my own, demise. But I was on the phone with my boyfriend, and literally I got thrown off the side of the road. But kid you not, 30 seconds later, a cop in a tow truck appeared right behind me. Nobody else is on the road, just a cop in a tow truck. No words were exchanged whatsoever. I got out of my vehicle to ask to help because I felt guilty. I felt bad. I felt like I was on my way to take my life. And the cop said, just get in the car. And he said, we'll have you turned back to Michigan in no time. And I just sat in my car, and they had me on the road. And on the way back, I was just like, I don't know what to do. I had this overwhelming urge to end it, but then I have this overwhelming, overpowering urge to live, all nestled inside. Think of the yin yang symbol. And that's when I heard again a spirit, a voice that said to me, and I associated with the Spirit of God, and it said, because I asked, what do I do? And it said, right. And that's what I did for the next year and a half, and that's what ultimately led to this part of my life, was heeding that and not giving in to the temptation to yoink myself, if you will, out of this existence.
Okay, let me reset this thing here, because this is what we just talked about. David C. Thomas is our guest here, and David was just describing and thank you for sharing it. Again, I knew this guy was going to be a super honest cat to come in and do this stuff with us. I mean, I get the whole story thing. I did not know all the depth of it, but I had a feeling. Okay, so David, the takeaway I have from because you were close to doing the attempted suicidal thing. You were driving, you were contemplating, you were on that road. These guardian angels show up out of nowhere, pull you out of the snowbank because you're in a blizzard, out of nowhere. So when these types of things, because I'm all about the universal energy, and I get what you're saying, man. I'm telling you, it's like us coming together and meeting each other. Sometimes it's all about it's going to happen. It's putting that positive energy out there, right? I mean, is that kind of what you're saying, that you had to fight off the dark and the light, and the light won?
Yeah, well, I want to take it a step further though, because the light is in existence in everyone. And it's a constant battle between the light and the dark internally. And the extremes that I felt all at once in that singular moment um, made me realize that every single decision that you make, no matter how small that you believe it may be, when you smile at someone that you're passing on the side of the road, when you decide to help a neighbor, um, these little things that you do, these decisions make up who you are. But not only that, that is what shapes your life. That is what helps aid you to get where you need to go. The moment that you decide to take things into your own hands and control it is when you lose that very thing you're trying to gain.
Okay, so let's go back and talk about that because that was so great. I talk about small incremental change all the time, and you're spot on with it. And I was in deep therapy as well when I was overcoming my issues and my drinking problems. And so I totally, and again, I'm so grateful to you for sharing that because some, especially men, would not want to share that I went into therapy. I had mental health issues. I had to deal with it. But your therapist and what you're talking about, the manipulation and overcoming that manipulation. In the next minute, can you just kind of set this up? Because I think a lot of younger people, maybe even older people, they need to know how you dealt with that manipulation to become where you are now, because you're in a way different spot. Can you set that up and we'll come finish that thread in the next segment, please? The manipulation.
Yes, and not only just to say, I want to make aware too that I have afflictions because I did get tested. I have what's post-traumatic stress disorder, major depression, and severe anxiety, a cocktail of which that basically has been told I'm a hamster that's on a wheel, constantly going and going and going. I want to go somewhere, but I'm going and going and going. And I overcame that with zero medication, and that is my faith, 100%. And God, I want to say music, but like I listen to a lot of wordless music, so that it allows my brain to connect with me and to connect with God and to be able to hone in and say, this is what we need to do.
All right, I'm going to take this through to break, everybody. This is a great story. I knew this. See, I love doing this kind of stuff because I love finding people and finding story and helping boost people up and share their voice out there. So
Yeah, I
David,
appreciate this too.
oh, my pleasure. David C. Thomas is our guest today. Believing in yourself, truths, non-truths. David, when we come back from break, I'm going to hit on the written and the wordless music and how that helped you, because I've got some stats and things that are occurring in society as far as the millennials and the younger millennials, some of the things that are some of the issues that are affecting your generation and how we can help. But let's bring a little bit of light to this and weave in your story about this, because you did escape. You do have guardian angels. You have found your faith. You have redefined who you are, and you're going to go on a different path. And I appreciate that very, very much. The awareness. Hey, man, being weird is cool. I've been weird my whole life. That's why people call me Tom Matt, because the Tom Matt Show is coming at you with David C. Thomas. Believing in yourself. See, talking to the camera again now. Okay, everybody. So this is why having people like this and doing these long form stories with a guy like David is so freaking badass, because we get right into the nitty gritty. And stick around, because we're going to do the fifth segment, and that's going to be the messages to my younger self. And guarantee you David's going to have some good stuff for us. So let's get this thing set up. Let's go to the fourth segment and get my stuff around here. Here we go. So much fun. The fourth segment of the Tom Matt Show is brought to you by Brock Fletcher, Brock Fletcher, and the selling team of Keller Williams, with his right-hand guy, Mike Dedman. What up, Mikey? How are you? Mikey was our buyer's agent in full disclosure, as I've said every show since Brock's been sponsoring us now several years. Mikey was our buyer's agent and Brock was our seller's agent for Big House Holt because we trust these guys. We trust their team. They take care of us. I'm going to do a big event with Brock. I'm going to go to a big event with Brock. He invited me to because he said, I think this will be good for you. Well, when a friend like that says, I think this will be good for you, just like he gave me that advice 5 years ago about selling our house, you got to listen to him because, you know, this information that our friends can share with us, the true blue people, those are the ones you want to have in your circle. All right. Couple of ways you can get into Brock's circle. 2 phone numbers coming at you. The office is 517-853-6408. His second number, and this is the big one, the right to his pocket, 517-303-3262, 303-3262. Brock Fletcher, that little radio in his pocket called a cell phone. Text him, tell him you heard it from Tommy. Heard it from Tommy, because that helps him, you know, decide that his investment and his marketing with us is paying off. Because frankly, most agents in the real estate business spend on an average of, you know, not even $500 a month on advertising. And that may sound like a lot, but in the advertising business, if you want to help people and you want to reach a bigger audience, you've got to invest. And that's what he does with us. And we're very, very grateful for that because he invests thousands and thousands of dollars across his whole portfolio to market your home. So again, 517-853-6408, kwsellingteam.com, kwsellingteam.com, Brock Fletcher, 303-3262, 517-303-3262. Find him there, text him, go to our website, tommattshow.com, bottom. Craig's there, Brock's there. We use both of their services because we love them and we trust them. And that is that. All right, back to my guest today. David C. Thomas. I got all kinds of notes here and we don't even really need them, frankly. The tiny decisions and the stories you were talking about in the previous segment, David, about how the written word and how wordless music was helping you because you went into therapy. You've had 2 very close, very, very close. I'm not even sure the word I want to use here. Experiences with suicide.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a good way of saying it. I'm trying to frame it up the right way, but so you've gone through a lot and you're young and it's like, okay, there are so many other young people out there just like you who are going through a lot of trials and tribulations. But let's talk about the written, the journaling, and the wordless music. Take a couple minutes and talk about how that helped, because I've got some other stats here that I wanted to ask you about, but please go right ahead.
All right, absolutely. Thank you, Tom. Again, so one of the things that I did was music. So one, I write books, and to get in the right frame of what I'm writing, I tend to listen to music. And one of the things that I did when I, got past the whole, I guess, suicide thing, was that I was like, I need to find a way to cope with things, but I was dedicated to not taking actual medicine. I didn't want to take, it didn't seem natural to me because these things didn't exist 100 years ago. They didn't exist 200 years ago. What did people do to overcome these things? Surely not everyone succumbed. And so I listened to music, and it was orchestrated music, wordless music, I say in certainty, because music influences you, right? It moves and you ebb and flow with it. If you have a joyful song on, you're more inclined to be joyful. You're more inclined to be happy and up, right? The reason I didn't listen to
is that why I jam my jams at the gym and I get all fired up?
Exactly.
Is that it, man? Is that the thread?
Yes, you're hitting it. And some would say that's diving more so into music therapy too, which is how you can lift yourself out of depression and things like that with music. However, what I did notice, and I'm a very scrupulous person, so I tend to look at the details and notice patterns. What I did notice was the uptick in anger I felt whenever I listened to like rap music or certain types of pop music or different things like that. Now, I'm not demeaning them. What I'm demeaning is the beat and the music itself is what I'm kind of up and moving and doing the dance to. But the problem that I noticed was afterwards, I'm listening to, let's say, an Eminem song or something. I felt angry. Now, then I was like, well, this isn't going to be good for my therapy. This isn't going to be good for me because that pushes me closer to that darkness I was talking about earlier. So I started listening to just joyful, uplifting music. A lot of it being cinematic. Also, I listened to music from movie scores. One of my favorite movies is Harry Potter, Jurassic Park, Titanic. I listened to a lot of those scores as well. When I'm needing to feel, a certain way, like get uplifted or everything else like that. So music has definitely been one of the driving forces in my life. And being an instrument player myself, I find it super, super helpful and incredibly encouraging when it's positive and uplifting.
That's a great tip. And I hope everybody takes a little bit away from what David just shared with us. Been through therapy. He's been through a lot in his young life. And he's obviously, if you're watching this, you can see that he's aggressively pursuing a better life, and he showed up. He's going to do his thing. David, I got to ask you, I got a few points here that I pulled down just in talking, because there are so many issues that are occurring in our world today with all of the polarization and
Hmm.
all of that negative discourse that's going on. But frankly, there are stats that are out there and things that are occurring for the millennial generation. You're a younger millennial, but the very first one was, you know, financial challenges.
Hmm.
Financial challenges for the younger generation, the millennials, when to start a family, buying a home,
Hmm. Right.
all of these pressures that you're under. Do you feel that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And unfortunately, I came so kind of rewinding back to when I was 18. I was actually wanting to get involved heavily in politics, and I mean heavily. I interned at the Detroit City Council under the late Kwame Kenyatta. Unfortunately, he passed away a few years ago, but I had a great time interning there. But I found out that politics, it doesn't even really matter at that level. It seems as if there's an element, and this is just me personally, it just seems like there was an element where, I don't know, more gridlocked, if you will. It doesn't seem like there's a lot that of people that are in those positions that truly get what's happening on the bottom level, and
You're
it infuriated me.
May I ask, may I
Yes.
offer my opinion on it?
Yeah.
I think people they are used to the system being a little bit broken and super slow, and they're
Hmm.
okay with it. I've seen
Yeah.
that. I've seen that in higher ed. I've seen how
Yeah.
organizations, yeah, I'm not slamming anybody. Everybody knows that I
Mhm.
work at the
Yeah.
university, refired from the university. But yes, I see what you're saying with that
Hmm.
you want to help, you want to
Hmm.
make change,
Right.
but you're used to this logger jam of slowness. And it's just
Hmm.
like, you
Like
know,
for instance, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to steamroll or anything, but one of the things that I did suffer through was homelessness. So in choosing not to go, there was a period in time before my father's arrest where we separated a bit, and I didn't yield or bend the knee, and I didn't go to him. And I'm working on total, absolute forgiveness of my father. I very much love him. But at the time, I was like, for my own growth, for me, I cannot do that. But I did go through homelessness. And one of the things that I'm a learned guy. I like to educate myself and I like to read. And one of the things I noticed is I was like, okay, there's a study that said there was like over 17.3 million vacant homes in America. Started looking it up again. I'm like, there's a lot of vacant homes in America. And I was like, well, why is it that we have only, let's say, 500,000 people to 600,000 that are homeless in America, but we can't do like a starter home, richest world in the nation? So things like that is what turned me away from politics and really, honestly, truly turned me towards wanting to create my own business, one that was very much faith driven, and one that has the interest of people at heart.
okay, hold that thought, because I really like where you're going with that. We'll pick that thread up after we do messages to my younger self in the fifth segment. And for
Mhm.
those of you who are not getting the fifth segment of the radio program, fear not. You can always go to the podcast. Please do go to our website, tommattshow.com, or any of the podcast providers out there. But the easiest way, if you really want to hear David's messages to his younger self in the fifth segment, please go there and get that. For the rest of you, we're going to come back and talk with David Thomas, David C. Thomas, believing in yourself. Excellent, excellent conversation with this young man. He's going places. He's going to share his website with us. He's going to share his plans, his dreams, his aspirations, because I'm telling you, You can see it all over this young man. He's got it going on and he is going to go get it. And I am there to help him as much as we can. And that's why he's on this radio program. Believe it or not, David C. Thomas, Tom Matt Show. That was weird. I had a little something happen with my keyboard. All right. Fifth segment. This is where we get the funny game. See how quickly this goes. And we frame this up. You'll be welcome to come back. I'm sure you will be just totally down with all of that. Let me get my card here for this. This is where I'm going to throw you after I do this quick read, David. We'll do your website and all of that stuff. How do people find you, book you, whatever, emails, phone numbers, whatever you prefer, website. Please be ready with all of that as we move forward. And right after I get done doing this quick read, and then we'll jump into messages. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. If you're a nonprofit, school, church, or youth group and need to spice up a gig with some talent, please go to our website, tommattshow.com. Contact box is there right at the top. Share with us your situation because we are accepting applications for these events. Okay. I will facilitate a group speaking engagement with myself as moderator and bring in talent and knowledge like a Craig Stiles, financial fitness, Ameriprise, Brock Fletcher, reality, real estate selling team, Keller Williams, maybe even a soul like a David C. Thomas who can come in and share his journey. Who knows? I just got to throw it out there, but that's what we want to do. And again, perfectly clear and honest here. These are pro bono. This is a pro bono offer, which means it's a freebie. If you want to pay us to come in and do an engagement like that, we are absolutely okay with that. But the bottom line is the impetus of this read is we want to help our community. And there are a lot of groups out there that could probably benefit from talent like Brock or Craig and David and maybe even me doing a little facilitation. Okay. So keep that in mind. TomMattShow.com. Go to the contact box. Send us a note. All right, David, how do people get a hold of you? You were very articulate, smart guy. How would you like people to connect with you if they need some advice, or they need some coaching, they need a friend? Go ahead, please.
Absolutely. Yes. And I'd like to throw on top of that too, humbly asking for any business advice from anyone that is in the business world. But saberstudios@gmail.com would be the way. Oh, absolutely. SABERZSTUDIOS@gmail.com.
I'll have all of these. You guys know I always put all this stuff in the recap, and David's just going to send me over a bunch of information. So please go there. Go ahead, David. Continue. You have more that you want to share?
Yes, and then I also have a website that has my books on it, and it's Saber Studios 8. So SABERZSTUDIOS, the number 8 dot Wixsite WIXSITE.com/SZSZ. We're working on getting our own domain, but right now
don't worry. If listeners are out there going, huh? What? No, don't worry about all that. I'll put it on the website. I promise it'll be on the recap. All this stuff. I just wanted you to be aware it'll be there. So don't sweat it. David's there. And you know what? I thought that was pretty sweet that you asked for some coaching and some advice for yourself, because there are a lot of really good people that's the whole reason why I intrinsically want to give back, because so many people helped me, David, in my journey, getting better, doing all this. It makes our heart better, makes our soul better by helping others. You know this. That's why you're so well connected with your inner soul. All right, let's have some fun here. Our newest segment, new thing I'm doing on our channel, on the DRFZ channel, is the messages to my younger self. And so this will be the third time, and I'm going to probably continue this with our guests, as far as asking them, what are the messages that you'd like to send to your younger self? David C. Thomas, what is your first, and again, these are short. your first message to your younger self be? And you're young, but we're still talking to maybe the 10-year-old, 15-year-old, 20-year-old. David,
Okay.
go ahead, man, please.
Absolutely. Without a doubt. The first thing that I would say to myself is cling to Jesus Christ and his words, 100%, without a doubt. Reason being, I lost my dad. He was taken away, and he wasn't a good sense of morals and anything else like that. And everything that was taught to me just was not of good fruit. Just really wasn't. This
Well,
the
let me
second
comment
thing.
on that first.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
I love when people are honest with their faith, because so many people are just afraid to share their faith and talk about it. And I appreciate you doing that and clinging to your faith, whatever your denomination is. Find something that you can cling to that is strong and powerful. And I can't think of anything more powerful than, Jesus Christ the Lord. So we don't do a lot of religious things here on this show, but when people talk about faith, I'm totally that number one thing on my top 10 list is you got to have faith. And whatever your faith you choose, that is your call, because it's all about your choice. Thank you for doing that, David. What's your second message to your younger self?
Absolutely. The power of forgiveness. And that is crucial. And the reason is this. When one does not forgive another person, they think that they are able to exist without having them live in their head. Um, I tell you, I don't know how to describe it outside of like the little insect animal kingdom, if you will, where it's like it burrows and eats at you when you do not give that person forgiveness. It's more or less you forgiving yourself as well, and saying, okay, both of us had a part in this. We don't know what was all in it, but we need to, find a way to amicably understand and move on. And the moment that I forgave my father for the things that he did, I felt an entire weight lifted upon me. And that's when I was like, okay, this life is worth living. There's something to it. Let's go a little bit deeper.
So strong. Love it so much. The freedom and the accountability that is given by forgiving others. And the 12-step program, they'll talk about that. You got to go apologize. You got to do all of these different things. And I'm not claiming to be an expert in that at all, but forgiveness, asking for forgiveness, and and forgiving yourself, right, David? I mean, forgiving yourself
Mm,
is massively important, because people beat themselves up. They ruminate, they let things
mhm,
spin forever, and they live in the past, and they can never break out of that bubble. And so thank you for that one. That was awesome.
mhm.
Number 3, David C. Thomas, what's your message to my younger self? First time on the Tom Mann Show. Go ahead, please.
Love and judge not. And the reason that I say love and judge not, and this goes twofold, and this one I'm learning more so now. I didn't have too much of a problem loving others. I thought it came somewhat naturally. Yeah, there was a, tiff here and there where you're like, screw you, Jimmy, or, whatever else. But for the general most part, loving others didn't come hard. It was loving myself that became the biggest hurdle that I had to overcome, because I grew up in an environment where the love for yourself was given essentially to dad. And I had to separate that and find a way, and I'm still doing that now today, to love myself. And the second part of that is to judge not, because the moment you point a finger at someone, you have 3 coming back at you. And beyond the whole metaphor of that, take the words as true. Like the moment that you're judging someone for this thing, you're going to get judged for that thing by someone else. And then it just keeps going. And it's like a festering wound that just spreads because everyone just judges each other. We have got to find a way and I know, we got turbulence going on in the world and everything else like that. Stay true to yourself, be kind, love, and judge not. I assure you, you'll see nothing but a smooth sailing life.
It's perfect. Awesome. How do you like these? Because it's so new for us, and I just kind of dreamed this whole thing up, David. David C. Thomas is our guest, and everybody, believing in yourself. But the message is to your younger self. I really have a complete vibe that this is going to just blow up. People need to have that conversation with their younger selves, and they don't get the opportunity to. So I appreciate you doing that. What do you think about this, though? What do you think about the whole concept?
So the moment that you told me about it, I was like, okay, that makes entire sense. And I was like, I visualized myself literally talking to, I halved my age, so my 15-year-old self. And so I literally was talking to him, and I didn't get teary-eyed, I didn't get anything. What I got was like, look how far I've come. And this is the information that you need to know so that you can continue to be a better and stronger person. Look, I literally look at it like a summary of what everything that we're discussing today. So I definitely appreciate that time. I most certainly do. And I'm grateful for this opportunity as well.
I appreciate you saying that, man. The whole thing is just, it's craziness. We got about 2 minutes to go before we're going to wrap this thing. And I'd like to get a takeaway from you, David. David C. Thomas has been our guest today, everybody. Believing in yourself. We covered a lot of ground, as you knew we would. But for a minute and a half or so takeaway, what would you like to leave the listeners of the Tom Matt Show, or in our channels, our video channels on YouTube? What would you like to leave the listeners and the viewers with? Go ahead, David.
Things are going to get dark. They have to. I know that sucks. History shows us time and time again that that's the ebb and flow of human nature. But it is imperative that you do not lose sight of your humanity. You do not lose sight of that love. Love conquers every single thing that is out there. The moment that you drop blaming others, the moment that you drop pointing fingers, the moment that you look internally in oneself, that is the moment that you gain access to love. That is the moment that you gain access to sight of what your future can truly be without strife. And if every human being on this planet did that, there would be no malice, there would be no strife.
David, I have to apologize for not getting into all your business stuff that you're doing, but I'm gonna open up the door right now for an invitation to have you back, because this high altitude interview with you was so strong, so well done, that I want you to come back as a guest. So I'll ask Sandy to please rebook you again. Not too long out. We'll talk about the future and where you're going with these things, because, young man, you have a strong story and I love your juice. So
thank you.
David C.
Thank you
Thomas,
so much.
my pleasure. Believing in Yourself was the title of this episode. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guest topics, issues. Please let us know. Please let us know. We have sponsorships available, a few at least, ad packages. Check us out. All right. Always. And this is something that David just talked about. The line that I use is where I got a little teary-eyed when he was talking about this stuff about loving yourself. But this is something I close the show with every show. He didn't even know that I did this. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. In every and any way that you can, you have to do that. I want to thank David C. Thomas for being with us. David, thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Sandy Matt, Craig Stiles, Brock Fletcher, the man behind the glass, Mitch Anderson. We'll talk to everybody next weekend. Have a great week. Hope you enjoyed this one. Go out and ignite your life. Remember, the Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. Good day now. Here, file, save. Well, young man. All right, so we're still recording on the video. We're not recording on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a quick takeaway. And
thank you. I wanted to say thank you so very, very much. I know you didn't want it to go too crazy on the faith or religion or anything like that, but one of the things that my aunt told me beforehand, she told me, she was like, and this is after my suicide thing, and I'm still kind of foggy on what am I doing here. She called me, and she does not know me. I do not know her. Never met her before. And she told me, she said, I want you to know that God told me you are a prophet. And she said, not only that, she said, you're a great orator. And I didn't even know what orator meant, so I had to look that up. I hate when people tell me words I got to look up because I feel like a kid still. But it's fine, you learn. But she told me all of this stuff, and things have been going in such a way, in such a direction that I'm like, okay, I'm just going to
let it come.
Let it go. Yeah, it literally, like
let it come to you, because you have supreme strength and power, and you are on the right track. And we're going to help you as much as we can. And it'll all be good. It'll be all good. So
thank you. Is there anything I can do for you?
No, man, I'm good right now. We'll talk off air, but I got to record some more stuff, do a little production work, and cut you loose. So you got my number. If you need anything, you let me know. I will be
Mhm.
sending you all of this, about 3 weeks, this will air, and
Okay.
we'll get you all the information you can share.
I did
now.
have a question because
Yes.
someone did ask me, my boyfriend asked me, he was like, how many people, do you know how many people your audience is, if you don't mind me
Well,
asking?
it's an interesting question, and our audience is pretty large. The
Hmm.
Michigan Talk Network, the way broadcast radio works, there's no metrics available because a lot of
Oh,
these
okay.
small stations. Our podcast, on the other hand, though, there's metrics for that. We're in the top, which isn't saying a lot for numbers, but podcast wise, we're in the top 20% of numbers for downloads monthly.
That's
And
really cool. Holy crap.
grow, and it's getting better. And now that we're on
That's
the video
awesome.
side of things, it's getting better. So it's hard to say because the Michigan Talk Network has 40 stations. We have
Hmm.
several independents that carry us and the PBS station. So,
Okay.
and not all those stations are talk stations. Some of them are,
Oh.
whatever, country, rock and roll, whatever.
Hmm.
And so it's very hard to say, but it's
I was
a
just curious.
pretty good. That's a pretty good number. It's a good question. I've given up trying to figure out that answer because advertisers will always ask you that, and it's like you just have to have faith in us that we're reaching a wide audience. And then one of my sponsors, Brock, he before he was sponsoring us, he actually came to us and asked us to join the team several years ago. One of his neighbors up in the Upper Peninsula, where he has a cottage up there, said,
Hmm.
"Hey, I heard you on a radio show." And so you just never know, man. I'm just,
Interesting. Okay.
yeah, I'm just glad.
I'm very grateful for it. He just asked me the question. I was like, I have no idea. I was like, I'm just really excited. But I also explained to Sandy how nervous I was because I know I can speak relatively well. It's just not even the sharing aspect of things. I sometimes get tongue tied. And I just thank you for your patience, most certainly.
Well,
And your you made it very, I don't want to, Mark Twain says strike very out of your vocabulary, but you made it effortless.
thank you. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Well, that's my job. I mean, my job is to make you sound good. You're my subject matter expert, and you've got a good story. And so it's all about the story, man. And so I'm all about it. There's so many people out there that we can help. And just, the evergreenness of podcasting is crazy.
Mhm.
Broadcast radio is
It's
great. And
growing.
being on all of that big stage like that, that's great. But the podcast,
It's
and
more intimate.
we started this thing, podcasting wasn't even a ubiquitous thing like it is now. I mean, now it's massive. Back then, I had not a listener one time in Grand Haven ask me what a podcast was when we first started. And it's like, well, people just didn't know. They'd never heard of it. And so,
But now,
but now it is what it
mhm.
is. Now we're doing the video stuff, and it's all good. So I'll be in touch. If you need me, you
Okay.
know how to get hold of me, man. Okay. Thank you, David.
Thank you so much. God bless. Thank you.
Buddy. Bye now.
Bye bye.
All right. That was freaking greatness. I mean, I knew this guy. I like to say that I have a way of finding people and story, and it's just sort of I don't even know. It's a feeling. And the guy is, he's another example of a soul that came so close to not being here. And so many of us have gone through the same feelings of not having the faith in yourself. You got to have the faith in yourself. So David C. Thomas, I'll put all the stuff up on the recap, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us, listening, watching, whatever. However, if we can help you, you let us know. Okay. Thank you so much. And we'll be in touch. To all of the viewers out there, thank you again. I appreciate you. Peace out. Love you.